want to welcome you to Felons Ain't Failures Podcast. It's your boy, Coach Chuck.
What's going on, everybody? This your boy, Big Bro Los.
And we want to welcome y'all again. Thank you for tuning in.
What's going on, though? Hey, everybody good? Want to welcome the FAF family. We appreciate y'all. You know, we always appreciate y'all coming in and listening to the podcast.
And we want to send a shout out to our Facebook Live family right now. They get a 5-minute preview, few behind the scenes, everything on Lanika page. So we're going to give y'all about 5 minutes.
5.
But, bro, how was your weekend? Let's start with that. You know, our normal talk.
It was pretty good.
Give me some love first. Love you, bro. Now tell about your weekend.
Slow down, bro. We had some rain the weekend, and I've been locked up into them Olympics, bro. I mean, locked in. I'm like, I ain't watched this much TV in my life, but I like the Olympics, so I watched it. That's about it, man. What about you?
Oh, man, I got up yesterday. I went fishing. Caught like, I want to say 12, 15 fish, 11, 15 fish.
Any keepers?
No keepers. No keepers. Just catch and release type of day. And that's pretty much it. And I was in here yesterday.
Okay.
Kind of going over this topic that we finna talk about. How you feel about it?
Yeah, man, you already know, man. I mean, you know, this topic, it's just new to me. You know, I mean, once I kind of started reading up on it, you know, I understand it, but it's just words that I never discussed in my life. These words, they never come out my mouth.
This ain't liquor.
You came and mentioned, like, this is what we're going to talk about. And you probably going to hear me struggle with the pronunciation of it. I hope not.
Yeah, I think you'll do the pronunciation real good.
See that?
Listen,
Yeah,
before we begin,
this
is just one of them days. I want to send a shout out to, and this is why it's so important, family, when we ask y'all to like, share, and comment, because actually this topic that we're going to talk about today was a comment from the Facebook Live. Shout out to Capri. We was talking about recidivism last week, and just some things that cause recidivism. And she dropped this topic inside the comment and was saying what we're going to talk about today also plays a role in it. So today we're going to talk about socioeconomic disparities.
Socioeconomic disparities.
Yes, sir. Yes,
I said
sir.
it.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
And we all know
time.
We all know what disparity is. That means just to be treated unfairly.
Okay.
So really, we want to deal with like socioeconomic issues. Just when we tie the word disparity, just mean we're treated unfairly in certain areas of our life.
That's true, bro.
You ready to rock?
Yeah, let's get it. Let's show me what you got, and I'm gonna jump in a little bit. You know, I got a little something though. We'll see what happens. Let's roll with it. Let's give socioeconomic disparity a shot.
All right. Well, let's give it some backbone first. Last week we talked about and keep in mind those watching Facebook Live, this stuff don't play until September. But last week we was talking about recidivism.
Yes.
Now, we was talking about recidivism, meaning getting out of prison, going back to prison. And while this topic, even though as broad as this topic is, I think it hit home first with my felons, because one reason that a lot of people may recidivize, and I used that word last week, and
Yes,
is that a word? Recidivize.
We didn't look at it.
The way look at Lopez.
We need to research
the way,
that.
a lot of people may recidivize, can have almost everything to do with their socioeconomic status, and which the disparity means to be treated unfairly. So when Capri dropped that in, I thought that was real key, and I felt like we should give it an attempt. So looking at the recidivism, looking at people getting out of prison, going back to prison, and this topic is going to go beyond the felons with recidivism, but I want to connect it to it. And when you start dealing with, and I want to throw this SES, because I may say that more, which is socioeconomic status. Right. Instead of me continue to say the word. The problem with the socioeconomic status of each individual, or the SES, I think that's a big issue that needs to be tackled. But I don't think this is something that we should really try to educate everybody on. This is something because it's so broad. I want to kind of use it today maybe to motivate and maybe inspire people.
All right.
To understand or to know where they are according to their socioeconomic status, low, medium, or high, and then maybe putting yourself in a position to maybe transition from one class to another.
Okay.
Because and you got something wrote down that I heard you mention earlier, we was talking. The problem with this SES is low, middle, and high and most people look at that stuff as low class, middle class, high class. It's based kind of on, like, as far as the income. Give me them 3 things that you said earlier. Let me bring you into it. You said something about you said something about income, occupation. Bring that up before I get into this.
I talked about, well, let me tell you what I got for my definition.
Okay,
I wrote the unequal distribution of resources, opportunities, and outcomes across different social and economic positions within a society, typically measured by factors like income, education, and occupation.
That's what I was. Okay, that's it. So income, income, education, and occupation, those are the variables that they assess to determine what status, what SES, what socioeconomic status people fall in.
Yeah.
You know, so the bottom line is, and I want to attack the beast first. The bottom line is that it's a system that has been put in place a long time ago. So it's a system, and the system is like a set of principles or procedures according to which something is done. So a long time ago, at whatever point they did, they set a system that says based on the education achievements of a person, based on how much money they make, and based on the type of job they have, we'll categorize them in a certain category. And I want y'all to understand that this is what they did to all of us, felons, non-felons, black, brown, white. This is what they did to all of us, is that they say we'll assess how much money they make. We can look at how much education they achieve. And so that's not how smart you are. That's not how dumb. It's how much education you achieve. So, like, there are people who are, like, extremely smart but dropped out of school.
Right.
So it's not about smarts. And there are people who are not that smart but graduated college. So you could be brilliant and have no education achievement and be dropped in the lower class. You can be very average but handle business and pass certain tests and got your degree and be put in a higher class. So we got to understand how it works, because, like the Bible talk about, it's a two-edged sword. So there's always 2 sides to everything. And we talk about, you know, the system is rigged, it's structured, but there's always 2 sides to a system. You got one side that if you follow a certain path is designed to keep you down.
Right.
You got the other side to the same system that if you follow a certain path, it's designed to keep you up.
So I got a question, bro.
Let's go. I knew you was finna come with it. Let's ride.
I mean, it's something else I had wrote down.
Y'all see that Facebook?
I just want to feel
talking about he wasn't ready.
I just want to feel like if you feel like it might play a part, because I wrote down like location.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because we all know that certain areas in neighborhoods, you know, especially in the lower poverty neighborhoods, you know, it's not a lot of access to everything, you know. So when the SES can play a part of that, like, we can't get to the big grocery stores, you know, and not that we can't get our, you know, our foods or whatever from our local markets and that kind of stuff there, you know. But it seems like you said, they positioned us to be in these certain places so that we can't achieve, you know. So I thought location had a lot to do with that as well.
Yeah, where they position where you fall in the system. That's the key. So even though it was set against us,
right?
Like the system, I remember I talked about this topic was going to be sick, broke, and incarcerated.
Yep.
Okay, the 3 worst and loneliest conditions to ever be in your life is to be sick, to be broke, and to be incarcerated. So as I was saying about this system, like, although we didn't have a choice what class we were put in, we have a choice of what class we remain in. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So if you are determined class by your education achievement, your income, and your type of job you have, so to fight that demon, maybe if we put some focus on changing the variables that are assessed, and if we change the variable, then there's a possibility we could change our level of SES, low, medium, or high. Because depending on what class you in, that depends on your access to everything. People in the higher class have more access.
Right.
Okay? People with a lower class have less access. People with less educational achievement, they are less likely to get a great job, occupation, that pays great money, income, that offers great business.
Offers great health care.
Great benefits, not business.
Yeah.
That offers great benefits. And so with that higher educational achievement, in some cases, we're going to deal with the variables. with the higher educational achievement, you stand the possibility of getting a greater occupation, which will pay you more income, which will give you greater benefits, which will allow you to see about your health better than somebody who has a low-paying job.
So that raises...
People who work at churches, and I'm just assuming, but people who work at churches don't have the same benefit plan that I have working for the city of St. Pete.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
A lot of people who work, and I have to be careful when I say this. I'm not going to say that because I'm not going to say.
Don't want to be offensive.
Yeah, I don't want to be offensive because
Right.
I don't know how to say it right. So I ain't gonna say it because I was about to say that I'm gonna say it. And
Okay, because you
kill me
said
in the
you weren't
comments
gonna
if you
say
got to
it.
kill me in the comments. I'm gonna say it anyway. I was going to say that, and I don't want people to take offense, but sometimes you have to offend people to make them tighten up and maybe do some greater things with life. Most people who work at those lower class jobs don't have the greatest educational achievements. I'm gonna put it like that.
Okay.
They haven't pushed themselves to achieve greater when it comes to educating themselves and making themselves worth more value.
Right. And you're not saying that they're not smart or they're stupid. We're not saying that.
Yeah.
You know, we're not saying that. It's just that the fact
I want to
that...
try to say it right.
Right. Yeah, I understand what you're saying now, again, because you don't want to offend. And we're not saying that you're not smart.
It's not liquor.
It's just that's kind of just how it is, bro. I mean, you know, and it's you can look out the window and see it every day. You know, you can see the process. You can see the people, you know, when they're coming from those type of jobs, you know, and the job ain't gonna motivate them, you know, so... And a lot of times you just get on that one track where this is just how it's going to be, you know, but we have to find a way to strengthen.
I never started all that dancing I was doing. Go ahead.
The SES status, you know what I'm saying? I
Yes,
mean, because it again, it ties into so many things, you know, because again, with if you got that lower job like that, you know, again, it's such a touchy subject, you know, and we don't want to fail. But now your housing probably is, you know, not as well as it could be, you know, because you got to stay where you got to stay where you can afford, you know, and we already know how much housing is these days, you know, and location, you know, because I've even noticed like where in some of the lower developed communities they started to knock down some of these places where these are the only places that people can afford to live. Now where they gonna go?
Exactly.
You know, what's gonna happen to them now?
Yeah.
You know, so you talk about your SES status, look at that.
And that's a socioeconomic disparity right now.
That's what it is. I'm not gonna say it. But that's what it is.
That's exactly what it is.
Throwing our hand up.
But and that's what and I think our listeners have to understand, our viewers have to understand that's our aim is to paint a picture of the beast and not completely detail the beast out. Just, I want you to see what you need to fight. And then maybe in a couple areas, you can make some adjustments. And maybe, you know what I'm saying, you can change your class, broaden your access, and then maybe not have to deal with so many disparities.
Okay.
So, but it's three things you named. You said education. Income. Occupation. So if those are three things that they use to determine what class we fall in, people who don't have those education achievements, people who don't make enough money, people who don't have great jobs, those are the people who are more subject to risk behaviors.
Okay.
And like a risk behavior is something that potentially exposes people to harm, whether it's in a health way or whether it's a life and death way. And when I saw that, it made me look at even, now I got to talk to my felons, it made me look at even the felons and those in prison and those who do the bad things that they do. Not necessarily, and I always knew that we're not bad people.
Right.
But the risk behaviors that we make and we take, the risk behaviors that we make and take is based on, like you talking about the location, but it's based on the lack of access we have to ascertain things that would give us a better life. Okay. You know, it's the reason that a lot of us don't reach full potential is because of the class that we remain in, and we don't stretch ourselves to become more valuable, to do more. You understand what I'm saying?
Why are you raising your hand?
Oh, you got a question?
I don't have a question. I just got a comment. It says socioeconomic disparity leads to a higher potential to reoffend. It's one of your comments.
Okay. Is that Capri? Tell Capri we about done with her. But yeah, I'm gonna bring it to that recidivism, to that part too, because when a person get out of prison, when they fall back out into that low level, I mean they don't have the greatest education. And I want y'all to see the cycle and the circle. They don't have the greatest education achievement.
The circle didn't change.
Yeah.
From when they went before. The circle didn't change.
And so therefore they don't have access to the greatest jobs. So right then, being a felon, that's another strike. That's another double down against you. So, and that's good because that's going to lead to something that I really want to talk about when it's time for us to push maybe a solution.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And we know something about not having the greatest jobs. That
Don't worry about that.
can involve what type of healthcare you may have or may not even have. Mm-hmm. So and now you're gonna be getting into you're not being as healthy as you can possibly be. Not that you don't want to be, because we don't have affordable healthcare. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And then it's just when I saw it, and then I was wondering like how many, because I didn't know anything about the word, and I was like, how many people are really familiar with that term itself? And then like I thought about where my parents came from, and like they weren't as educated, and I mean they was just trying to get by, and like so sometimes it seems like it gets handed down.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah, and so and
that's because we have to break it. Like somebody has to say, I'm going to get in motion the change that's going to elevate my lineage from low level to medium level,
right,
or from medium level to high level. Somebody, and I think the biggest problem is that a lot of us, we do things now to see the change now to benefit us. But at some point, somebody got to make the sacrifice and say, you know what, the change I'm going for, I probably never see.
Long-term goal.
I'm changing. I'm changing for those coming behind me.
I want to be able to leave something for my children and my grandchildren. And I want to educate them.
And what's better than a higher level of a socioeconomic class?
Absolutely.
Which gives you greater access to jobs, to income, to health, and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
There.
So, that sounds good.
That sounds all right.
Well, I think, bro, again, because because in a lot of situations you can see where money been, generational wealth. Mm-hmm. A lot of people got money from grandparents, great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents, So, again, now their SES status is a little higher on the totem pole.
Based
you
on
know
the
what
income.
I'm saying? Right. So, when it's not like that, and the generation before you was struggling, 2 generations before that was struggling, it's about maybe trying to just recognize that and, like you say, find like, okay, what am I gonna do? Where do I make my change so that I can strengthen my SES? And
one of the biggest problem is that the income that they have that put them in the higher class versus the income that we don't have that puts us in the lower class. The biggest issue is that a lot of the income that they use to assess and put them in the higher class was taken from us. And because it was taken from us, we were automatically like doomed, destined for doom, because we had the resources at one point to put us in a higher class.
Right.
But a lot of those resources were taken. And I'm not sure if we properly fought correctly to get them back. So maybe that's the spirit of what we got to talk about today is we all know stuff was taken from us. Stolen from us. We all know that we have to work twice as hard as anybody else. We all understand that. So now, like, what are we going to do about it? What are you going to do to change the SES, the social economic status of those who are coming behind you, bearing your name, walking in your blood? What am I going to do? The listeners, the viewers, what are you going to do? Like, and what I didn't want to do was spend a whole lot of time talking about the problem, talking about the system, talking about this, talking about the beast. We understand that it's not set up for us to win. But we understand there's always two sides to every system.
Right.
So how do we? What's our plan of action to start making things work? What's our plan of action to start turning things around? What's our plan of action to remove our family from the lower level of the SES to at least to the medium, and then we can work on getting into the high level. So, and I think that's what's important. I think that's what we probably need to make sure we leave out there is to give everybody something to do, or open everybody's eyes on something that we can work on.
I think what maybe I've even been trying to do with not even knowing that I was playing a part in the SES status, but with my children, I always try to educate them, on being smarter, and let them know some of the rough things that I've been through and some of the things, how much their education plays a part of them being, strengthening them, being smart about being financially smart, and the company you keep. You can't keep that circle, that's keeping you in that SES. You got to remove yourself from, So one of the things, like I just said, what I try to do is maybe just provide them with the information. Now whether they listen or not, that's on them. But I can try to do that.
Man, I didn't realize like how important, but how like broad and how like difficult this subject is. You know what I'm saying? And it's like this. It's like it's so deep, even far beyond that we can reach right now. And I guess I never really thought about, because you always talk about the system set up against us,
right?
But to actually see the game played and see how they play the game, it kind of just, gives me a whole different perspective on it. But I want to say something to the fellas and to the people, because I think let's switch it, because we can keep talking about this and let's switch it. I want to talk about those three areas that you say they use to determine what class we're gonna be in:
income, education, and occupation. Income, education, and occupation.
So if we're gonna turn it around, if we gonna elevate our family from a lower class to a middle class to a higher class, I think we got to focus on those three. Right?
Okay.
We focus on those three, and especially for my people coming out of prison. So if the first thing that determines where we belong and determines the type of access we have is the income. So they look at how much money we make. So I think to battle that, income is just money received through work and or investments.
Right.
Okay. So I'm gonna touch on something now. So with everything, I think we need to look at a short game and then we need to look at a long game. People getting out of prison, and this could also help get away from stop that consistency and recidivism, is that the first thing you get out, you focus on your income.
Okay.
So if income is a consistent payout through work or investments, the short game is that you need to get out and establish some consistent income. Okay, you need that first. Not getting out and just jumping into business, and I'm always a proponent of people starting business, but I think even before you really get into this entrepreneurship, I think you need to make sure that you have a consistent payout, because no matter what you do in life, you need something consistent. All right. So and you have to everybody, we want stuff too fast. You got to slow walk it. So when I come home, even those who are already home, the first thing I need to do is make sure I have a consistent payout through my work.
Okay.
Too many people don't want to work. Most people would rather hustle, whether come up on something here and there.
Fast money.
You got to work.
Right.
You need a consistent payout. That's the short game. I need something for now. If I got to get out and go to Taco Bell, Salem's pay $15 an hour.
Right.
If I got to get out and do that, make $1,200 every 2 weeks, I need to first establish some consistent payout in my life. Okay. That's my short game. So kick the pride to the side, because we're trying to turn some things around. And remember I said, now, you may not turn it around for you to see right now, but it'll begin to shift things in your family lineage and where you set it. So we want to do income. We need some consistent income. Get out and get a job. Stop being prideful. I can't do that. Get out, get a job, stay on the job, start working. All right. And then the long-term game is, remember I say income is what you receive through pay or through working,
right,
and investment. We got to start getting into investing. Now, it could be real estate. It could be the stock market. But that's when you start getting into the long game of it. Like investing is not for now. You don't do that now to see the power of that and the manifestation of that
it's
now.
Long term.
And if I had to be honest, and if I asked everybody to raise their hand, how many people watching us invest? Most of us just take our money and spend it for now.
Right.
And if we don't have consistent income coming in, and if we're not, that's the short game. And if we're not playing the long game and putting our money into some type of investment, then we stand no possibility of shifting from one lower class to a higher class. So that's the first thing. So you have to focus on your income. So now you have to be honest with yourself and say, okay, do I need to rearrange my schedule? Do I need to rearrange my entrepreneurial ideas? And do I need to first make sure that I have consistent income coming in? Because when you got consistent income coming in, and then you got a partner, if you got a partner, they got consistent income coming in, you can pay bills, do what you got to do, manage your money, budget your money, and then you could take some of your extra from that short game, and then you can start to put some of that to the long game.
Right.
Everybody don't have to jump in real estate, but everybody can go and open up an investment account, a custodial account, and start buying a couple shares. Because remember, the long game is not for us.
Absolutely.
The long game is for your grandkids. Yep. It's for my grandkids. I want to shift their SES. I want to shift the class they in. So income is short game, long game. Second thing is education.
Education.
Some of us had a capacity to make ourselves worth more value. We're just lazy. Nobody wants to go to school for 4 years to get a degree and make themselves worth more money. Because a lot of people say, college is a waste of time for some.
Right.
But some people had a capacity to go to school, get a degree, and make themselves worth more money.
Let me tell you my personal story about education.
College?
Come from me.
Oh.
Yeah. No. Okay, so I started working for the city when I was 19. I did 35 years there. Thank you. I did 35 years there.
How many years?
35. 35 years and I retired.
I just had to do that.
Can you imagine for 35 years not strengthening your education? Mm-hmm. Because all I did was, I was making good money. Yeah. So that's all I was worried about was getting the money. Not investing, as you talked about, not
you somewhat invested, though, through that benefit program we were talking about. Go ahead.
Well, I did, but that's because it just went there automatically.
Yeah.
How smart would I have been if I'd have did more to that? Because I didn't, I would have been in a whole different place right now, maybe, financially, which is fine, but when I was reading up on this and then when I started thinking about the education part, it kind of just made me sit down and think, like, man, you really, I don't want to say wasted no time, but
you can say it.
But, well then, yeah, because
wasted opportunities
because there's so much I could have done. And I say that to say, because people do that. And just not realizing they get caught up in the money, they get caught up in whatever else they got going on, and not realizing that the status that they're in, the SES, what I'm saying, and not realize that there's so much more that you can do. Because if I would continue to, to stay in school and to raise my education level, it would have put me in different positions as far as where I was with the city, who maybe I would have wanted to transfer somewhere else, but it just let me understand that I stayed still for so long, and I know people out there do that, and I just want y'all to know my story. So don't do what I did. Take advantage of the situation. You can always educate yourself. I know everybody don't want to go to college or what that kind of stuff there, but this right here, you can learn a lot. You can teach yourself a lot by this right here. But don't stay stuck like I did. Make a move.
Yeah, and get some educational achievements. Man, Nico was talking yesterday about like I just said about degrees, but like certifications. Like you can go to school to be a welder. You can go to school to be a chef. You can go to you can get some type of what they call those skills. What them things called? What they called? Nah, not really. When you go to the P-Tech and you take the class.
A trade?
Yeah, trade school, yeah. Yeah, you can you can go to trade school, because remember, we talking about shifting the SES, shifting what class we in. The higher class we go in, the more access we got to stuff. Right. So that's like, when it comes to education, it ain't all about just going to college, getting a degree, but it's about getting some type of educational achievement. Too many people, and I used to be guilty of it, they start and they never finish. A lot of people start school and don't finish. A lot of people start trade school and don't finish. But now if you're going to shift something, you got to finish it.
Right.
You know, you got to have some type of educational achievement.
Right.
And then the last thing is
Occupation.
occupation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now this
Your job.
This the big thing. Yeah, especially my fellas. Your job, but sometimes you got to be able to create opportunities when no opportunities are created for you or presented to you. So that's, you know, we talk about business and all that, but that's when I get to talk about this. About purpose never dies, about living life by the advantage. Some of us, at some point in time in our life, you got to tap into what's in you. You got to figure out what you're good at. You got to figure out what you do better than everybody else. And sometimes you have to build your life around that. I said earlier, you get out, you go to Taco Bell, but still a lot of times Taco Bell won't hire you.
Right.
So when you at a point where you can't find the occupation that you need, maybe the occupation is inside of you. So maybe you got to build around something that you're good at. Some people, like I talked before, some people can cook with no measurements.
Right.
You know, start selling dinners. I'll go somewhere and be a chef. You know what I'm saying? Like, use what you're good at. You know, stop looking for, like, something to fall out the sky. Stop looking for something quick to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, figure out who you are, figure out what you're good at, and create your own opportunity.
Yeah, stop trying to copycat off somebody else's skills, you know, because you see what somebody else doing. Like, okay, well, I want to do that because they make good money in it. But that might not be what you're good at.
Yeah, because they might have built that around what they're good at. You know what I'm saying? But and this circles back to everything else we already talk about, is that you got to know who you are. You got to know what you're good at. And you have to build you a life around that, and you can create your own opportunities, because it's going to take income, education, and a different level of occupation to begin to shift you and put you in another category. But it's time out. You can't be lazy. Right. You got to get out and go to work.
Yeah.
You got to get some type of achievement. Some people got it. Some people don't need to. Some people got it, and you got to up that occupation, man. And if you're not willing to fight, especially felons, we got to double down on it. You got to go twice as hard. And if you're not willing to change your income, if you're not willing to challenge yourself on the education level, if you're not willing to challenge yourself on creating your own opportunities, if no opportunities are presented to you, then there's no way. And it ain't about you, even those who come behind you. You're going to leave that work for somebody else to try to do, to change the socioeconomic status for your family lineage.
And, you know, and when we get on these jobs, we got to have some stability and some structure. You know, because I know a lot of people who go from job to job, and they excuse us, they ain't like me, or I ain't want to get up and go in the morning, or whatever it was, you know what I'm saying? But this is not your business, you know, so you're going to have to put yourself in a position where, you know, you got to realize it may not be what you want at the moment, but you got to get your finances on. You got to work somewhere, you know, so you have to understand that, okay, I got to do this job for a minute, but build your status, you know what I mean? Get to the point where you worked on your education, maybe doing this job may have helped you work on your education, but probably allowed you to take some classes and that kind of stuff there, you know, but you have to show some stability when you're doing this, you know, to make it work.
Yeah.
All right.
And this is why it's very important. I heard you talk about this before, that like that we have to become a family with this thing. So what we need is, we need y'all to like, we need y'all to share, and even bigger than that, we need y'all to comment. We need y'all to speak to us about this episode. We did the best we can with talking about it, but I know everybody out there, y'all got some comments. Y'all got to drop them comments into us. Help educate us, and maybe it's another topic. Maybe we can revisit this topic again. But if you got some examples, or you got some better insight, or even if you want to come over here and talk about it a little greater and in-depth than we did, hit us in the comments. Let us know. We can set some up, talk about it, and see what we can do. But at the bottom of the screen, we're going to have a banner rolling. It's going to give you some information. And remember, we need y'all to like, share, comment, go to the YouTube page, and subscribe. Los, take them out with something, big bro.
Well, I just want everybody to work on that. I mean, I don't want you to keep your SES at down at the bottom. I want it to come up. I want you to raise it up. I want you to think about your family in the future. I want you to think about your long-term situation and get it. Okay, but think about your long-term situation so you can make it happen, because you can move it up. We don't have to stay in that low status. We can pick it up. We can make it happen and be in a whole other situation. So that's what I got, bro.
Yes, sir. And let's be serious about that income. Let's be serious about that educational achievement. And let's be serious about our occupation. If no opportunities are presented, create your own and build around the thing that's on the inside of you. Listen, we appreciate y'all for tuning in. We love you. We're going to see you on the other side. Peace.
want.